I'm zonked. I feel good but tired. One of the biggest challenges I'm having is finding good stuff to eat that's convenient. It's a food desert in this neighborhood. Um, so yeah, the poker is not the hard part. The hard part is going to be life management. I'm tired. I slept well, but I'm tired. All right, let's get coffee.
Hey there, I'm Chris. I'm a baker, a cyclist, a psychology professor, and a poker player. Despite having plenty of experience at higher stakes, I recently gave myself a low stakes challenge to play 300 hours of 1-3 no limit hold'em in a single month with the goal of earning $10,000. This is 10K May.
We're gonna get a little stroll in, have this coffee, and then we're gonna grind. Not expecting to win today like we have the last 2 days. There's no way to expect that. And in fact, it's bad to set any kind of results goal in poker because you just don't have control over that in the short term. All right, but having said all of that, it'd be nice to win $300 today and put us over the 3,500 mark after 3 days. Let's be over the 3,600 mark. Let's win 350 today. Be over 3,600 across 3 days. That'd be great. 1-3 cash again every day. This is my life now. We play 1-3 cash all day. All right, so the question coming into day 3 today is, can we run as hot as we've run the first 2 days? First hand, there's 2 limps. Gentleman makes it 20 in middle position. In late position, we have 2 red queens. We 3-bet to 60. Folds back to the pre-flop razor. He makes it 145. I'm pretty sure he has aces or kings, probably aces given the style in which people play at 1-3. But I mean, we've got queens. I think about my options. I think about all the options. I decide to call and see if we can get a good flop. Flop comes queen, queen, 8. Not a bad flop. Goes check, check. The turn is a blank. I don't even remember what it is. He bets 95. We just call. And the river is a king, and now he checks, and we jam for whatever's left, which, if I remember correctly, is about 275, 300. And he's like, oh my God, he's like, did you really just call with kings? And he eventually calls. I'm sure he has aces at this point. We table the hand. It's good, no surprise. And yeah, he had aces. So yeah, first hand today. Now, the very next hand, we flop a set and lose to a flop straight and lose all that profit. So maybe the heater is over. So anyone who's played a bunch will tell you it's easy to play well when you're running good. So now that it feels like that hot streak is over and we're back to sort of normal poker, you know, have to not let the exuberance carry over, have to be steady, but it's just all about making good decisions. That's all it is. Being in the moment, making good decision after good decision. It's easy to say, it's not always easy to do, but we're gonna do that. All right, now things aren't going well today. Guy comes to our table, he's coughing and sneezing and hacking, he sounds like he's gonna die, so I'm like, get me out of here. I don't know what is wrong with people, they can't stay home when they're sick. So we switched tables. The table I was at wasn't great, wasn't bad, wasn't great. So we go to a new game. Right away, I like the dynamic at the new table. It just seems like all the players are very passive. We lose 1 or 2 pots, and then we get into this one. Limp in early position. We raise to 15 with king of clubs, jack of spades, button calls, big blind calls, limper folds. Always strange when people do that, but it happens all the time at 1-3. So it's about 50 in the pot going to the flop. Flop is ace 7 deuce 2 spades. Big blind checks. We probe for 15. They both call. I can't explain this, but I had the sense that neither one of them was on a flush draw. Live read, feel kind of thing.
White magic.
The turn is the 9 of spades. I was hoping it was going to be the 10 of spades, but 9 of spades. And now I think we can take control of the hand. Big blind checks. We bet 60 into a pot of 90, and the button calls again. And again, I get the sense he's not that strong, and I'm gonna go for it on a lot of rivers. River is a 3 of clubs, and we do go for it. We go all in for 240. He thinks a bit and he calls. I just say, good call, turn over the hand. He turns over 9-7 of diamonds. So I'm okay with the play. His play makes sense too. It's just, there's nothing wrong with that. All right, it's 5:30. I'm feeling surprisingly good. I was making steady progress coming back, had the chip stack up to about 8 or 850. Just played a really interesting hand. A young man on my left named Andrew. He's a graduate student at Princeton. I'm starting to make acquaintances with him. He's new to poker, obviously a smart guy, friendly guy. I'm enjoying talking with him. He opened under the gun to 15, so I'm thinking very strong range. You know, based on the fact that he's very new, I'm thinking it's probably going to be, you know, aces, kings. Woman on the button who is not at all a skilled player calls, and we're in the big blind. We have 7-6 diamonds. We're nice and deep with Andrew. We're getting good odds to call. I don't want to 3-bet as a bluff here because I think this fella Andrew's range is super strong. Flop comes 10-8-5, 2 spades. We check. Andrew c-bets. I'm thinking about 40 into 60. The woman folds, and now we make it 105. He calls. Obviously, we're looking for a 4 or 9, but also I am very confident he's not on spades. And so if a spade comes, I'm going to use that as a bluff card. The turn is another 10, not a spade. And we decide this is a reasonable card to continue on because maybe we have check raised a 10. Also, this guy's very new, so he might be very worried and he might overfold. But we don't want to bet so much that we don't have play on the river. So based on what's left to play for, we make a kind of smallish bet, kind of the same way we might with a really good 10 or with a full house. We bet 135. He now takes a long time and eventually calls. So we have 300 or 400 left to play for on the river. And if it comes a spade, a 4 or 9, I'm going to jam. It comes another 10, which sucks. So now there's 3 10s on board, and I just give up. I check. He thinks for a little bit and then checks. I say, you got it. And he quite wisely waits so he gets to see my hand, which is smart. If you're watching this, Andrew, well done. So I table my hand, knowing there's no chance ever it's good. And I'm a little surprised to see what he turns over. He turns over black 9s. Well played, Andrew. He asked me a little bit, you know, how I might have played that, and I was like, it depends on who my opponent is. And basically, I told him sincerely, I think he played it very well. So we took a hit there. I'm happy with my play. I'm impressed by his play as a very new player. So that was an interesting one. So we're back down to about 500 on the felt from we're in for 11 today. So not a great day. But I'm happy with how I'm playing. I'm happy with how things are going. And the game I'm in is a good game. All right, it's proven to be an eventful day. So an hour after the last hand we played with Andrew from Princeton. And yeah, we were in the small blind. A couple limps, we make it 25. He calls. Flop comes King 8-7. It's about $50 in the pot. We continue for 25. He calls. turn is a 7. I think this is a good card for us. I don't think he's going to have many 7s in this spot. You know, one of the things that's been interesting about editing this project is getting to hear myself say stupid things like that. The man called from the big blind. He has nearly all the 7s in range. And we think for a while about our sizing. Pot's now about $100. And I decided I want to go kind of big here. I think he's very likely to have a hand like jacks, 10s, 9s. And also given the hand we played earlier, I think it's very likely he might need to be tenacious here. So we size up to 80 and he calls. And now I'm a little less comfortable with my hand, but you know, still thinking about the plan in the same way. I also think he's going to have some kings here. The kings he has are likely to be better than mine. A new player might show up with ace king here. The river is a 7, so now we have 7s full of kings, just holding a single king, and we have about 400 left to play for. And I think his most likely hand that he holds now is a king, which we're chopping with, and he might still have hands like jacks, 10s, 9s. And also because he's a new player, if he has a king and I overbet, maybe he'll get scared and think that I can have quads or, you know, 8s full or something like that. So we jam and he snap calls. He has 7-6 of hearts. So we took massive damage there. In the moment right now, I'm comfortable with my play, even though the overbet got us wrecked on the end. Might want to think about this hand later, you know, reanalyze it, but interesting hand. Obviously a bad hand for us in terms of results. So we're now in the game for 1600 with 500 on the felt. So we're getting mashed now. All right, so that concludes day 3. We got a solid 12 hours in, which is really good. So we're banking time, we're ahead of schedule. We were stuck pretty bad. Reported on those interesting hands that I played with my new friend Andrew. We had a hand where I overbet considerably, like, you know, 175% pot on the river with a bluff, and he folded. I asked him if he wanted to see it, and he basically didn't say anything, so I didn't show it. Then a few minutes later we were chatting, and he's like, "Did you have it?" And I'm like, "No." And then almost immediately we played another hand where I had the betting lead with king queen, and the flop came queen queen jack. We c-bet about 40% pot on the flop. He called. The turn was a king. Now we bet bigger, and he called again, and the river was a blank. It doesn't matter. And now we bet like 225% pot, and actually it might even been more. It might have been like, anyway, it's big, well over double pot. He called, and of course we were good with queens full. He later told me he had ace 10 for Broadway, and he was interested in like whether that was a must call or not. And while I didn't answer that question in tremendous detail, I told him a little bit about what I thought. So that helped me improve the session. We still booked a loss today, lost about 700 by the time it was all said and done. I feel good about how I played. You know, we were, I think, given the runouts we were getting tonight, it was going to be hard to book a win. So I'm happy with how I played, happy with how this day went, happy with how I managed my time and my energy. So now it's time to get a bite to eat and get to bed.